from asking the question, what does it mean to be human? And you may wonder, why do I ask the question? And my answer is pretty simple. I'm curious. I want to know what I am. But the real question is, how do I find answers? What are good methods for thinking about deeper questions? How do you investigate what it means to be an emotional thinking being? When I think about what it means to be human, I exercise a unique approach for finding answers. I focus on the human body for answers, particularly the core muscles of the torso, neck, and head, as the landscape for exploring humanness. It's a very physical approach, where I move awareness inward and map inner muscle movement and sensation as I think. What do I think about? Well, today I'm going to tackle the topic of consciousness. But first things first, the core muscles. What are the core muscles? They are muscles of the torso, neck, and head, and include organ muscles like the gut, the stomach, and the heart. The core muscles move and they feel. What do they feel? Muscle things. They feel sensations of their own experience. Sensations like pain, oh, life is hard, and pleasure, oh, life is good. And they feel sensations of stretch and fatigue and warmth and cold and sensations of movement. For example, the muscle movement of breath. So at any given moment, the core muscles are somewhere in the cycle of breath moving together. Inhale, 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 exhale, exhale, exhale. And to get a sense of this breath movement, I would like you to feel and visualize the movement of breath with me. And this will require legs uncrossing and just getting a little bit ready to bring awareness into the body a little bit. Good. So start low in the core and feel the abdominal muscles expand on the inhale. You can do that a couple times. And then move awareness to the pelvic floor. It's like a bowl of muscle underneath the pelvis. And it's very subtle, but try to see if you can feel it expand on the inhale. Just take a nice deep breath and see if you can feel some subtle movement in the pelvis. And then move awareness to the low back. And you can lean forward if you need to do this and put your hands on your low back. And try to feel the low back expand on the inhale. And then I would like you to visualize the diaphragm. It's a parachute-shaped muscle underneath the lungs, and it flattens on the inhale, like this. And then feel the chest expand. And the ribs, there are muscles between all of the ribs. And feel the throat lengthening. Perhaps feel subtle movement in the mouth and nose as you breathe. The core muscles move together to breathe, and this concert of movement causes the lungs to expand, which creates a vacuum in the lungs, and air moves into the body to fill that vacuum. It's like a pump in which the core muscles create the inhale and the exhale moving together. The core muscles move together when I breathe. When I sing, the core muscles move together. When I speak and emote, the core muscles move together. The core muscles move together in a variety of ways, creating different core postures. So the term core posture is an important term that I developed, but the easiest way to explain it is to move you through a few examples. But as for definitions, a core posture is a complex pose of the core muscles with several core muscles involved. It's easier to explain to just move you through a few examples. So the first core posture I would like you to engage is anger. And I'm not trying to start a fight. It's actually a very simple core posture to engage with core contraction at the front of the body. So starting in the face. Contract muscle in the brow, maybe a little between the eyes. I can see you all too. Good. Contract a little bit in the mouth, harden in the mouth. Contract muscle in the throat. Contract muscle in the chest and below the sternum. Contract muscle in the abdomen, strongly. Contract muscle in the pelvis. Good. You take a breath. Relax it a little bit. I think of the core posture of anger as a frontal armor, creating a contraction that is meant to deflect, and also it can contract the body forward to attack. All right, next core posture I would like you to engage is the core posture of a smile. So you all know how to smile. So you can start in the face with a little bit of mouth, sides of the mouth, contracting out, a little bit at the sides of the eyes, and then move awareness into the throat and feel a soft contraction of the throat. Feel a soft lift of the chest, a soft contraction in the abdomen, a soft contraction in the pelvis. Good. Smile. Thank you. Okay. Now, I'd like to try another one. I would like you to just contract the muscles on the sides of the mouth while relaxing the rest of the core. Just relax all of the core and just contract the muscles sides of the mouth. There's a fake smile. And I have fantasies of like doing this talk to like 100 people and having them all fake smile back at me. It'd be awesome. I'm going to take a big picture. Right? Good. So now you can smile regular again, do the full core posture of a smile and feel the entire core posture of the smile. It's not just in the face, it's a full core pose. Okay. Now the next core posture I want you to engage is called a half yawn. What is a half yawn? Well, you know what a regular yawn is. So we'll start with that. So I'd like you to start by opening the mouth. That was just too easy. Okay. Open the mouth and move awareness to the behind the top molars, to the soft palate. And I'd like you to feel the soft palate. It's like a dome of muscle in the back of the mouth. I want you to stretch it up as if you're stretching it up and out through the ears. And then breathe deeply as you do it. Good. Good. Yes. Good. So, I'm going to have you do it again. If you get yawned out, it's okay. Just do the best you can. I'd like you to add a hand movement. I'd like you to take your hand and track the duration of the yawn by moving it from left to right to indicate the progress of the yawn from beginning to end. So it's going to look like this. Like that. You do that? Ready? Go. Good. Okay. Now, I'd like to try it again, except this time I want you to stop halfway. So it's going to look like this. Okay? Go ahead and try it with me. Good. Now exhale and ah. Ah. Good. Yeah, that's great. All right, we'll do it one more time. So this is the half yawn. Ready? Go. Ah. Excellent. Good. So that's a half yawn. A half yawn is a core posture, lifted soft palate, lowered larynx, expanded ribs, lowered diaphragm, expanded abdominals, expanded pelvic floor. It's the same core posture that I engaged at the beginning when you heard me sing. I moved into a half yawn, and then I vocalized on ah. So what's interesting about the half yawn pose is that it's very similar to the core posture of yes. So you know how we have a word for yes? It's yes. I love it when I have a comedian. So my question is, what experience created the need for the word yes? Because, there are all kinds of different languages, each with their own word for yes. So my question is, what is the human experience of yes that all humans have in common? I think that yes is a core posture. Yes, or awe, is a moving, stretching pleasure pose of the core muscles, head to pelvis. And there are varying degrees of yes, from the strong ah, like the half yawn, to the subtle. But strong or subtle, the general structure is the same. The core posture of yes encourages breath, whereas the core posture of no stops it. You can test the differences. You can engage the core posture of yes and feel a stretch in the throat and below the sternum. And then engage no and feel muscle in the throat and muscle below the sternum contract. Or you can think about how you engage yes and no in your life. So for example, say a little kid is about to run to the street. Do you say no gently? Or do you say it strongly, clipping it at the end so that the child will hear you and stop his breath and stop running into the street? So you want to try it? Nice big no. And we go on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
No!
Yes.
Oh.
Good. Good. So the child stops his breath, stops running into the street. And then you take the child aside, say, no, don't run into the street, to associate the memory of the street with the felt experience of stopping the breath. On the other hand, if someone you love asks to kiss you, do you stretch into a pleasure pose and say, yes? As I've become more aware of my core muscles, I've realized that I need to engage the core posture of yes frequently. Just like I need to move and stretch arms and legs, so I also need to move and stretch the core muscles. The reason being, my core muscles are always active, breathing and speaking and singing and moving into different core postures of emotions. They need a break, a rejuvenating, pleasurable stretch. They can't stop moving. They can't take a break and stop moving because that would stop the breath, which would hurt. So they get a rejuvenating, pleasurable stretch, the core posture of yes. And so I exercise the core posture of yes often throughout my life, in many different ways. For example, when I have conversations with friends and strangers and we ask each other, are you having a good day? Oh, yeah. Are you having a good day? Yeah. Oh, good. And there are many other ways that I engage the core posture of yes in my life, but the one that I really want to focus on is how I engage the core posture of yes when I think. The core posture of yes is interwoven into my processes of thought. So to explain how this works, I'm going to do math. And it's going to be very simple math, where I emphasize the core movement. And the core movement is going to be suspension of breath, then move into the core posture of yes. Suspension of breath, as in anticipation, move into the core posture of yes. And I'll indicate it with this hand movement. Suspension, core posture of yes. Very simple math. But I want to emphasize the core movement, so I'm going to exaggerate that part. Okay, here's the math. 11 plus 11 is 22. Yes. So after I said the equation, there was a moment of breath suspension where I visualized the equation, spoke it silently to myself, and then I moved into the core posture of yes, a subtle pleasure pose, and then I said the word yes. So again, 11 plus 11 is 22. Yes. It's a rhythm based on core movement. So another example. I'm going to make it a little harder. I'm going to make something up. 19 plus 48 is 67. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. Yes. But, so it's breath suspension, visualizing and speaking the equation to myself, and then I move into the core posture of yes, and then I say the word yes. But it doesn't have to be math. What about a question about my present state? So, am I alive? Yes. And another. Am I thinking? Yes. But moving through life, I don't actually have to say the word yes. I can simply end the thought with the core posture of yes, which is wordless, but has a core structure, like a subtle pleasure breath. 11 plus 11 is 22. $19 plus 48 is 67. Am I alive? Am I thinking? Moving through this process is like being my own parent, giving myself the reward of breath. So when I was little, I needed my parents to acknowledge my experiences. I would do something and they'd be like, yeah, good job. And I would, yeah, good. And then as I got older, I learned how to acknowledge myself. And now I can acknowledge my own thoughts with a self-created yes, a moving, stretching pleasure pose of the core muscles. By moving into the core posture of yes to acknowledge my own thoughts, I am exercising a process of human consciousness. And then, what happens when I become aware of engaging yes? I'm thinking 11 plus 11 is 22. And all of a sudden, I become aware of the core posture of yes. And I acknowledge that core posture of yes with another core posture of yes. And I think, that's me. And then I do it again. Engage yes. And then engage yes again to acknowledge the first core posture of yes. That's 2 yes core postures in a row. What's a yes core posture plus another yes core posture? What's ah plus ah? More ah. By becoming aware of yes and acknowledging it with another yes, I move deeper into the yes pose until it becomes a strong ah. An epiphany of core awareness, a felt awareness of myself. So that's my theory of consciousness. And that's a taste of what I think about and how I think. It is a way of thinking that is rooted in the idea that for me, being human is being a body. I think of myself as a flesh being, shaped by core muscles, as well as a thoughtful being, who can move awareness inward and analyze how I am shaped by core muscles. And then I create art and performance to share this way of thinking, this method of reasoning with you, recognizing core muscles as active and sensory components of human experience.